moments on board Delta Flight 104. Inside the plane, you can hear passengers' fear after a fireball engulfed a jet engine just seconds after takeoff, seen in this sped-up video. The Atlanta-bound Airbus 330 departing from Sao Paulo, Brazil, with 14 crew and 272 passengers on board. This video appearing to show sparks before fiery streaks billowing out of the plane's left engine. Delta sank Flight 104 returned to the airport soon after takeoff Sunday evening, following a mechanical issue with the aircraft's left engine, adding it landed safely. Terrifying moments on board Delta Flight.
I Nadi, whoa, Nadi, we have a mouthful here tonight. Hold on there, I can put on my TikTok. Oh yeah, get ready for work. Okay, all right. No problem. Good evening, sweet peas. How you do? All right, so because it go long, I'm gonna have to play it and stop it. I want to get right into it. Right into it.
If you have a FUPA, do these 5 exercises for 2 minutes each, all the way till April. We start
completion. The contracts were put in place.
Blue.
And do you know why that was? That a contract is not signed?
Yeah, let me start from.
Hold on, I don't know if your mic is on. Check it for me. No, it don't seem to be on.
Hi, sweet peas. Jacqueline Murray. TikTok.
Or bring it closer to you so we can hear. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Good morning.
I think you're going to have to bring it closer to you because we're not hearing you well. Yeah.
All right, you're hearing better.
Yeah,
now?
that's better. Yeah.
All right, good morning again, Chairman. Good morning, members, Auditor General and her staff. Good morning. With me this morning is a team from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and from the University Hospital. I have a very big team, Chairman, because I've asked the heads of department, some of who have never been here before, to come for the experience so that they can understand how serious.
So that they don't have to come back again.
Right, so they can understand how serious these matters are. But to my right is Mr.
Hi,
Lynch,
Jacqueline. Sweet
who
peas.
is
Be great to hear you.
the Chief Technical Director in charge of planning and policy. From the Ministry of Health to my left, Mr. Eric Hussein, who is the acting CEO of the University Hospital of West Indies. Immediately behind me, we have the CMO, Dr. Jacqueline Besesa Mackenzie. We have Commander Paul Wright. As well, behind me, we have Miss Birch, Kadian Birch, immediately behind me.
Well, if you want the others just to introduce themselves, that might be easier.
We'll just ask the others to
introduce themselves.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much, Chairman.
All right. Can I just press your mic and just introduce yourself and indicate the position you hold and the entity that you're from. Yes.
Good morning. I'm Paulette Spencer-Smith, Executive Director, National Council on Drug Abuse.
Good morning. I'm Giovanni Price, Attorney at Law and Data Protection Officer at the National Council on Drug Abuse.
Kimani Brightson, Senior Legal Officer, University Hospital of the West Indies. Good morning. I'm Valasha Dover, Director of Financial Accounting, University Hospital.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Ainsworth Buckridge, Senior Director of Public Procurement, University Hospital of the West Indies.
Let's keep going.
Good morning. My name is Dwight McLeish,
Chief
Audit
University
Executive at the
Hospital
University
today.
Hospital of the West Indies.
This is a disgrace.
Release your mic. Once you just press your mic, release it. So NCDA, yeah, just release your mic. Yeah, go ahead.
Morning, Michelle Davis, Director of Budget, Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Good morning, Angela Curtis Cox, Senior Director, Strategic Planning, Performance, Project Management at the University Hospital of the West Indies.
Morning, everyone.
It was on. Just bring it closer to you.
Morning, everyone. Maureen Golding, Chief Technical Director, Office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Good morning, everyone. I am Oric Clark, Program Manager for the Health System Strengthening Program.
You're turning it off. Just go ahead. Press it. Hold on. Press it again. Don't turn it off now. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brendalyn Bennett Tomlinson. I'm the Audit Supervisor of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Release your mic once you're finished. Just turn it off.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Walker, Chief Internal Auditor
Not so much,
for the
Ada.
Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Morning, everyone. Andre Wilshire, Senior Director of Program Development, Ministry of Health and Wellness.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a big team from both the ministry and the university hospital. How I intend to proceed, as we normally do, I'll ask the Auditor General to provide her summary. Oh, sorry. So I'm going a little too fast. Minutes of the last meeting held on March 3rd, 2026. I assume the members have had an opportunity to look at the minutes, and please indicate if there are any corrections, omissions that you have picked up. If no, could I have a motion for the confirmation of the minutes? Moved by Member Cousins, seconded by Member Miller. Oh, Member Cousins, you can't move it. I'll just switch it around since you weren't here at the last meeting. So the confirmation moved by Member Miller, seconded by Member Cousins. All right. In terms of how we proceed, I'll ask the Auditor General to provide her summary. I'm starting with the University Hospital, a summary of the audits. I'll then invite the team from either the ministry or the university to respond. And then members, the way I intend to proceed, I will take the questions and comments by each finding. So I'll do finding 1, and then we discuss that. Once we have exhausted that, we go to finding 2 until we get to finding 7. And then after we have completed the university hospital, we can go to the other 2 issues, the HSSP program and also the Ministry of Health in terms of the appropriation accounts. So, Madam Auditor General, I'll invite you to start.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to hand over to Deputy Auditor General Non-Assurance Christopher here, who will introduce the matter for the ministry, for the university hospital. Thanks.
Thank you, Auditor General.
Just bring the mic closer to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Auditor
Hi,
General.
Jacqueline.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Public Accounts Committee, good morning. This performance audit was undertaken in response to whistleblowers' concerns regarding administration and management of certain operational activities at the University Hospital of the West Indies. The audit also represents the first in a series being conducted under the theme ensuring value for money in public health procurement. The audit examined the hospital's procurement activities as to whether they achieve value for money and comply with the government of Jamaica's Public Procurement Act, its related regulations, and also the procurement guidelines where applicable. The audit focused on public health procurement for hospital infrastructure, an area of significant public interest, given UHWI's role in the delivery of healthcare services and the substantial public resources allocated to this function. We identified systemic weaknesses in the hospital's strategic management and procurement governance. In particular, the misuse of UHWI's tax-exempt status resulted in estimated revenue losses of $23.1 million.
Want to hear that?
Secondly, the practice of after-the-fact procurement, where the required procurement processes were completed after goods and services were obtained.
Want to hear that?
Which is contrary to
Want
the
to hear
law.
it?
Thirdly, the preparation of key strategic and accountability documents, which weakens oversight and procurement planning. And fourthly, the non-submission of standard procurement documentation for audit review, which limit assurance that due process was followed. The audit concluded that these weaknesses expose the hospital to heightened risk of inefficiency, waste, and non-compliance, and undermine confidence in the integrity of its procurement operations. Management has indicated that corrective actions are being pursued to correct the deficiencies identified. The findings extend beyond isolated procedural lapses and instead point to long-standing governance and control deficiencies within UHWI's procurement environment. Mr. Chairman, I thank you and the members for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Green, I don't know if you're going to take it or Mr. Hosing, but...
Thank you very much, Chairman. Mr. Hosing will take it. As you know, the UHWI is managed by a board of directors. They manage their affairs.
Just bring the mic closer so Hansard can capture your comments.
Right, Mr. Hosing is the acting CEO of the UHWI. He is prepared to answer all the questions. Mr. Hosing, over to you.
I'm gonna need better miking
Good morning,
system
everyone.
in
Good
here.
morning, Chair. I have been acting in this position from January the 12th of this year. And just to say, Mr. Chair, we accept and acknowledge the findings of the Auditor General. The matters reported in the Auditor General report are
But I listen to the university mix up, you know.
persisted for decades within the organization. And this is proven
Go ahead.
by even a report which was done in 2007. which
Go ahead,
highlights
Trem.
Similar weaknesses. Internally, we are therefore working to identify structural gaps
Ask a
while
question.
strengthening the hospital's accountability framework. Since the publication of the report, we have located 30 of the 29 of the 51 procurement files that we were unable to produce during the conduct of the initial audit exercise.
I am actually just listening to the whole thing too, you know, 'cause I never get a chance to watch it today. But I'll watch bits and pieces.
A standard operating procedure for public procurement is now being finalized.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. You want to come in at the box? Come up in our box.
All of the cases highlighted by the Auditor General occurred as a result of breach of GOJ procurement guidelines and a lack of standard operating procedures combined with weak internal controls. The management of the UHWI
Let me pause this. Yeah. Hi, Trem.
Yeah, Auntie, good night.
Good night.
So I was just asking the other persons who were implicated in the whole tax reprieve thing, the other companies have been revealed. I don't know who owns them, but you know that Dennis Gordon owns Jack Den.
Yeah.
So I'm asking the question. It doesn't seem as if anybody else that is involved in this scandal is going to resign. So I'm asking the question, if Dennis Gordon should resign, should he take the noble or the high road and, you know, relinquish whatever post he has in the House of Representatives? Not as an MP, because he can't resign as an MP, but any other, you know, portfolio that he holds, should he take the honorable route and do the right thing in the interest of integrity, or does he just stay right where he is because nobody else is doing the right thing, so why should he?
All right, my take on it is this. there is still more to this story that we don't know. Is it a situation? And listen to me, I talk it all a while on my platform. This is only one person when I come back and defend nobody and they're wrong, whether they're my PMP or they're my GLP. So let me make that categorically clear. Now, in the instance of what is happening here, we don't know. University Hospital is saying that flood water wet up 200 documentation, which we know that that is a big lie. So the problem we want to find out, is it a situation that he get the equipment through university hospital? Did he pay any money to somebody in the university hospital to do it? So we can't run to the conclusion yet because there is more things to hear that happen. Did he have knowledge that they may buy the thing and never pay it and get it to him? Did he pay somebody money to buy it and from the university? Because somebody from university have to involve. The Ministry of Health and Wellness also have to know anything we buy through the university hospital. So somebody there must know who get the procurement, who do this, who sign off, and all of that. So it is just more than saying who involved, but what inside work did the university hospital did.
Okay. Understood.
You understand what I'm saying?
That was my question.
But let's find the question that you're asking me. Let's say he know, yes, he should resign.
Okay.
Let's say him know and him involved
Would
and him
anybody
agree.
care that he didn't resign? Because as far as me concerned, you know, Jamaica is at a place where they don't really care about.
Nobody not care. And when I say the PMP can't too act like them too honest and more than the other side. Because the one now move. Because if Andrew not move, I say why anybody else will move. But can I agree
That
with
is
wrong?
true.
Can I agree with wrong? No.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that.
All right. So you see my point.
Yeah, man.
All
Thanks.
Right. Yeah, man. But me continue play it so we hear more.
Fully with the committees that were commissioned by the Ministry of Health and the UHWI Board of Management. These committees will present findings that will assist management to improve our internal process. The mandate of the UHWI Commission Committee, led by Ambassador
We're not talking about improve, not the brother. We want to know who do this.
specifically highlight the operation
No, get to it. Oh, no, should not get to it with it.
And report on the instances where the actions of our employees would have resulted in breach of the established UHWI procurement guidelines and regulations. We believe these findings, in particular, will assist management to make determinations as it relates to liability and culpability. We have now completed a series of training in GOJ public procurement guidelines for all members of the public procurement unit, all members of the procurement and evaluation committees, all senior directors and managers. We will continue to provide training for our internal stakeholders to keep our staff up to date and current with GOJ guidelines on procurement. The matters concerning the misuse of the tax exemption status have been reported to both the police, MOCA, and fraud unit, and to Jamaica Customs Agency. We are cooperating fully with both entities and remain in open dialogue with their representatives in order to recover the revenue lost to the government of Jamaica. MOCA has requested statements from certain employees, and we are expecting their submission this week. Customs has already sent the result of one of the investigations, and we are awaiting the remaining results. In addition to these external agencies, the Integrity Commission is currently investigating some specific cases that were reported by the Auditor General. The team members from the Integrity Commission, which visited the UHWI, have officially sequestered the files related to the misuse of our tax exemption status, as well as the procurement files.
Clive, good night. Watson, O'Neill,
were flagged by the AGDs. We are currently
Margaret,
awaiting those findings from the Integrity
Jessica
Commission.
Carter,
The contravening
Dwayne.
practice of initiating procurement processes
Good night.
after the delivery of goods or services have been discontinued. We have also discontinued the use of arrangements with private entities to bypass procurement guidelines and have discontinued the misuse of our tax exemption status by private entities. Through the development of robust standard operating procedure, improve accountability framework, and a change of culture
A long time
through
ago.
human resource development and training, we intend to eliminate the factors that could give rise to the reoccurrence of issues reported by the AGP in the first place. Through proper procurement planning and conformity to the...
1 second, Mr. Hosting. I'm told they're not capturing you fully. If you want to hold the mic in your hand or bring it closer to you so that they can hear. Just bring it closer to you. So
okay. Might have to hold it?
No, that's better. That's better.
That's better. Through proper procurement planning and conformity to the UHWI guidelines on procurement, these issues will be alleviated completely. The audit for 2019 to 2020 is scheduled to recommence in April of this year. The audits for 2020 to 2025 were tendered and an audit firm was selected. Mr. Demel, a former partner at KPMG, was hired in January, the same time I was, to head our finance division, and one of his key deliverables is the completion of the audits.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Hosing. So, members, we're going to go by each finding, but before we get to the findings, and this is directed to the ministry, could you explain the governance structure related to, there may be a parallel governance with both the Ministry of Health and the university itself. We know the university hospital is unique in that it's a training institution. So could we start there by understanding where the Ministry of Health's oversight starts and stops with this particular institution?
Well, the University Hospital of the West Indies is governed by a board that is made up of representatives appointed by the minister or recommended for appointment by the minister, but majority of the members of the board are made up from the University of the West Indies itself. They manage their own affairs. It's a department of
well, it's no drama
University of Health and Wellness, where we have oversight
so,
responsibility.
You say why they be? Because all them say can't act underneath the minister portfolio and him not say I know what's going.
So is there, in addition to the board members, is there any direct reporting from the hospital to the university as other departments or agencies under the ministry would do, whether it be on a monthly or quarterly basis?
Not that I'm aware. They manage their own affairs, and our job is to ensure that they do what they're supposed to do in accordance with government guidelines.
The reason I'm probing on this issue, the issues that have been identified are systemic. I think Mr. Hosing saying going back decades. So my question would be, if you're to provide oversight and those issues were raised or brought to the attention of the ministry, why are we where we are? And were those issues brought to the attention of the ministry? And is there a structure that facilitates those issues coming to the attention of the ministry?
Yes, there's a structure. And when we were aware of the Auditor General's review of the processes of the University Hospital of the West Indies, we immediately involved ourselves in the exit interview with the UHWI and the Auditor General. And we've had several discussions since that time to ensure that all the actions that have been found in breach are corrected where they can, and to put things in place to ensure that there's no recurrence of this.
All right. I know the individuals here are new to the positions, but for example, something that I would want to know, on the issue of procurement, what is the board's oversight in relation to procurement? Is it that procurement over a particular number has to be approved by the board, or can the CEO and the executive team go ahead and do that? That's
so much
important, given the level of breaches that we have seen here. So, I would obviously want to know where the board's responsibility, this is the university's board now, would step in a scenario like this.
Okay, so the CEO can approve up to $3 million without it going to the procurement committee for review. And
that is a procurement committee of the board, or is that the universities?
Of the university, as required by the government. And then from there, after a certain amount, it goes to the Public Procurement Committee, which is the oversight body that deals with our large amount. And also there is an amount, I think 50 million, that it has to go to the cabinet.
Sorry, Chairman. Mr. Hussein is new.
I know. And
the reason why I ask him is because he would be familiar with what the ceilings are. Under a certain amount, the CEO and the team can make that decision. I'm not so sure what the threshold is for it to go to the board, but I would assume that figure is set by the board. And of course, anything over $100 million would have to go to PPC and then on to cabinet.
So at this stage, you wouldn't have the historic data to know whether the board established a particular
So how them not to know
as
that
part
them
of
there,
its
okay.
internal control, a particular figure, let's say
What kind of
anything over
madness is?
20
Oh,
million
no.
would require, and I'm just using a figure, would require board approval.
Christina,
Versus
good
the
night.
CEO being
Rosalie.
allowed to proceed with procurement of that number.
I don't bear the patient, I don't hear the story, but me have to play out.
That's important to know, just to understand, because we're going to get to the specific issues, but it's very clear that there is an absence of governance and accountability that runs throughout the entire report. And so we need to understand, and I raise it because I do appreciate the university as an institution appoints board members, but the ministry also does. And while board members can flag and raise issues, there has to be some institutional mechanism for reporting from the hospital
Exactly.
to the ministry
Exactly.
on a periodic basis. So
Exactly.
that those issues don't only arise because the Auditor General went in and did an audit. It means that we have years and years of breaches that would have gone undetected without an audit. And that just points to a total absence of proper governance and oversight. But there are a number of members who have raised. Member Brown first, then Member Miller, then Member Cuthbert.
Thank you very much.
And remember, we're just dealing with this issue
Oversight,
first.
Yes. And I'm glad it started there, Chairman, because I had some questions around just the general oversight, Sir PS as well. I am referencing your letter, which you read from earlier, as it relates to the findings of the Auditor General and her team. And you reiterated in your opening remarks that, there would be an increased effort to provide oversight from the ministry. I want to associate myself with the comments from the chairman because it is good and well that now that the findings have come to the fore,
That's
that the restorative, the corrective, the remedial actions and processes, reporting all the findings to the police, reporting it to the customs, putting in place procurement plans and all the like now. But we are seeing close to 8 years of flagrant procurement breaches. So I want to join the chairman to understand what is the institutional framework that the ministry has in place, not to put in place now, and that is good and well, but what is the institutional framework that the ministry has in place
Good
to
question. Good question.
give oversight, not just to the University of the West Indies, Hospital of the West Indies, but also to other agencies that come under your oversight remit, so that these breaches are not picked up when somebody whistleblowers, but that there is a systematic, ongoing, consistent oversight function and overview of the ministry in that. So I want you to tell me what is the framework. Do you, for example, as PS, have any meetings with your head of the various agencies, your chairman of boards? Probably that's the minister's responsibility. But the different heads of entities on a monthly, quarterly, do you get reports from the different entities to yourselves or to your different officers. What is the framework? Because it is good and well, but when we look at all of the breaches, all of the findings that are here, it doesn't paint a good picture in terms of the ministry's oversight, even before we start to look at the University Hospital of the West Indies and deep dive into the issues that were the finding. What exists now and what could have caused something as egregious as all of these measures that we're about to discuss to have happened?
Thank you very much for that question, member. As I said before, the University Hospital of the West Indies manages their own affairs. No report, with the deepest of respect, that would come to the ministry
Sharon.
would highlight the issues that were raised by the Auditor General. They do have an audit department that is supposed to conduct audits from time to time. Those reports of the internal audit department of the University Hospital should come to the permanent secretary when those reports are done. We do get the usual reports. They're supposed to provide a procurement plan. We are supposed to receive their operations plan and other matters related to a service level agreement that we're trying to put in place with all the agencies, the regions, the UHWI and the Bellevue Hospital. All of that will be outlined in a service level agreement, which we are working to conclude.
Well, I must say, having heard that, it highlights an even more serious issue, that there has to be a review of the governance arrangements. Now, I know the hospital is funded both by the University of the West Indies, but I think the majority of the funding comes from the government of Jamaica, right, through the Ministry of Health. So if the current arrangement is that you get no reports from the University Hospital, that is a deep flaw, given the amount, and I don't remember, somebody would have to look in the big yellow book to look at the allocation that is made to the university, but it's we're not talking about tens of millions, we're talking about billions, particularly I know on the capital side now with the works that are being done. So there has to be a review of those governance arrangements because in essence you are sitting duck. You are being asked to hold an entity accountable for which you in essence don't get reports.
I'm not saying we shouldn't, I'm only there for a year.
I understand. But
none have come to me since May.
No, I understand, P.S., but I'm saying if there was a mechanism where reports were coming, these issues would have hopefully been highlighted, resolved, and we wouldn't have to wait on whistleblowers who ask the Auditor General to go and do an audit. So something is wrong with the governance arrangements. It can't be that taxpayers are funding the hospital to the degree of billions of dollars, and there is no direct reporting between the hospital and the ministry. It can't be.
It can't be.
And the minister appoints
no work like that.
Board members alone, yes, they exercise oversight, but there has to be monthly, quarterly reports to the ministry so you can know what is happening. We are spending billions of dollars with zero oversight, and people can just go, this sounds like a runaway train where somebody just on a frolic of their own can spend taxpayers' money like it's the Wild Wild West. It can't be so. So I know the minister set up some committee to look at the governance. This has to be part of the terms of reference going forward. Now, I know you is unique, but let me ask you this. What arrangement exists, for example, in the other hospitals like KPH, Spanish Town, where the government has full and total responsibility from a governance perspective?
There's a board of directors that manages the affairs of those institutions. Each hospital would have a hospital management committee, which would report into the board, the regional board.
So, well, me pause this little. So, me want to raise this a little before I continue. So, the Minister of Health him not really getting a report from the hospital them for know so well something did go on. As can't to what them I say so. Them not really report back to the ministry. Does it make no sense to anybody who will listen to this tonight? What kind of madness is this? So you going as a minister. Let's say you going as a minister. Can not give PNP all the blame, right? And so the PNP never have nothing. Last minister. Me don't want to hear from the last PNP minister of health. Who it was again? Fenton Ferguson? Was it Fenton Ferguson? I would want to hear from him. How did he get report from the university hospital when he was minister? If it was a yearly, quarterly, monthly, or however. Because where them people at all, it's like them they send nothing back to the and the minister they try to hear what go on. This the whole of una forget lock up. The whole of una more for lock up the whole of una.
The minutes of the board meetings on a monthly basis. A copy goes to a set go to the minister, a set comes to the permanent secretary. And whenever audits are done within those within the regions and those institutions, a copy of the audit report will be sent to the permanent secretary.
So the main difference between you and the other hospitals is that they fall under the regional health authority structure, yes. But UWI would not because it is funded by
There's a board that comprises membership of the University of West Indies itself. I believe they have the majority. And then
could you tell me in terms of the composition, how many are appointed by the university versus how many are appointed by the ministry? And in terms of the chair of the board, is it the ministry that appoints the chair or is it the university that appoints the chair?
The minister appoints the chair.
Okay.
So the minister appoints the chair.
Do you know because the composition is important in terms of the sway of the balance of power between the university and the ministry.
I believe I stand to be corrected, Mr. Lynch. What for me? There are 10 members from the University of the West Indies, and I think 7 or 8 by the minister. 8 by the minister.
Okay, so the majority from the university and not the ministry. And could I ask you, in terms of I know you may not know the exact figures, but the funding that comes to the hospital, what is the breakdown between what the university provides versus what the government of Jamaica provides?
The government provides 68% of the budget.
68% of the budget.
What?
So the board membership should reflect that and not have the university have the majority of the board. That has to be a part of the review of the governance arrangements going forward. And even the university itself is also heavily funded by the government of Jamaica too. So,
so for the taxpayer money too.
It may be more than the 68% if you add the government's total contribution. Sorry, AG, you wanted to just intervene on a matter? Sorry.
I want to concur with PS Green regarding the structure that is required. The Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act requires that there must be monthly, quarterly, and annual reporting to the ministry by the university, by the public body. But I want to say to you, Mr. Chairman, that alone is not sufficient. I would posit that the findings of this report would not have made its way to those reports based on the framework that is provided for those reports in the schedule to the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act. I think this requires something far more. It requires the ministry engaged 2 consultants in the past to do a strategic review, to do transformational review, to do operational and turnaround review. We didn't see anything happening with those. This is hitting really at the heart of the control environment of the ministry. And Section 6 of the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act actually places the responsibility on the board to create a control environment to ensure that the necessary systems are in place to protect the resources of the government by and large. So it's my view that the hospital will have to do a serious look, not also on its hiring practices, because the control environment starts there. Who is put in a particular position, ensure that you have the best fit for the position, and that
They're not a top team.
ethical conduct
They're not top team.
is at the heart of the operations of the environment. It's obvious that let me not say it's obvious, it's just my view based on the pervasiveness of the issues reported here. We just identified a small fraction.
Small fraction.
We have all the reasons to believe that this had been happening a long time ago, so much so that I believe that the members of the university hospital may have become desensitized on this and probably not even recognize that what was happening was not right, because some may have inherited, continued it. So a culture change,
yes,
I think is also required. But Chair, the annual, the quarterly, and the reporting, that alone will not,
have
address these issues and would not have captured these issues.
Excellent.
Oh my God.
All right, Member Brown had a follow-up, then Member Cuthbert.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the intervention of the AG on that, and I widen
we gone
and
mad enough.
support
The country
the
gone to the
broader
dogs.
for
Corruption.
A
And
systemic
of them top people are the
overview
thief.
and review of the internal controls. So I don't know, Chairman, if I move now to ask, and I guess he's new, so the CEO of the hospital, in terms of like internal audit, because the AG indicates that the quarterly, monthly, mandatory reports that would be required to share from the board to the ministry will not have allowed for the hospital to capture. And bear in mind that these are not just procurement issues, because we are going to deep dive in others. There are issues as a PS raised in terms of the strategic hiring of consultants, the issue of missed deadlines as it relates to audited financials, and
then I need so much money. Me alone could have come up there and keep it well accurate.
Issues outside of just procurement. The procurement may be a little more glaring. But
I showed us a thief, and then I need so much people for do nothing.
In your capacity as the new CEO, what is the internal audit framework of the University Hospital of the West Indies that is in place or has been
even when they put in a new one, they all want and tell him new one what for
you cannot say if you came and saw nothing, that's fine. But what is the internal audit framework that is in place that clearly, I believe, should capture those things and bring to the attention of the leadership of the hospital management to ensure that these breaches would not have happened, or there is an absence of internal audit oversight within the university hospital itself.
Okay, just to add to what the Auditor General said, that even the report that comes to the board would not capture a lot of what you have seen here, the breaches that you have seen, because the reports that come would certainly not include all of this detail and the information. There is an internal audit department, and our chief internal auditor is here. The board, the current board, was appointed in October. It was the first meeting of the board, of this current board. There has
October.
We don't go back for the old board. The people that end up on the old board, we don't make it and change them. Them should have answer a question.
The first time. And after election, there will be a new board put in place, and the first meeting was in October. When you look back at the internal audit reports, some of the findings of the Auditor General are in fact in those reports going back a few years, not in the detail and not all, but some of it was in fact in those reports, and there has been some challenges in terms of seeing the actions that should have been taken that they were taken.
when I was going to ask, where's the chief internal? Where is he or she?
Yeah, he's here.
He's here. If you could indicate for me how you operate. No, leave on your mic. Turn it back on. How you operate, who you report to. I don't know how long you've been in the position, but it would be helpful for us to understand the size of your unit. Is it adequately staffed? The issues that came out of this report, were these issues flagged before, brought to the attention of the relevant, whether board, CEO, etc.?
Thank you, Chair. So the framework of the Internal Audit Department has the structure has, I think, 7 or 8 members. It's headed by a CAE, 2 internal audit
Don't
managers.
say what a CA is. Not everybody going
Chief
to.
Audit Executive.
You are the head of the department, right?
Correct, Chairman.
Okay.
2 audit managers.
How long have you been in the position?
2019, Chair.
Okay.
2 audit managers, 2 senior auditors, 2 auditors. And that's the structure. Currently, Chair, 2 posts is not filled at the moment, which are the 2 managers. Those are not filled. So the audit reports, the department reports to a subcommittee of the board called the Audit Committee, and that is chaired by a member of the board.
And can I ask, you've been there 6 years now, going 7. Some of the issues that came out of the report, were those captured by your department, and were those things that were sent and reported to the board?
Yes, Chair. They were captured by the department and reported to the board, but the board did not take any action.
Okay. All right.
So the board don't need to look at. The board are with the criminality there.
We've been waiting a long time.
And you've asked all of the questions, mainly what I wanted to ask.
Frank, all right.
That is a little bit unsettling for me. Just
hold on, Member Frank. Let her allow her, and then
yes.
after her.
Where's it? Not only the board.
Very
Charm, good night.
that I am actually hearing, and just from the
But the
internal
audit, so them
auditor,
pick it up and send it to the board, and the board not do
yes,
nothing.
these things were flagged, but nothing was done.
Right.
The composition of the board, I think it's, as you said, it's 8 to 10 ratio. And what is concerning for me is that 68% of the budget comes from taxpayers. And it's almost as if there is nothing that can be done, because the input from the minister, as far as the appointees for the board members, that there is really not a good structure that's in place. And for me, what I would want to find out is really, going forward, I'm really still not hearing about going forward what will be the different structure that will be put in place to make sure
no different. They might find loopholes here.
Because
I feel the
I'm
tree.
hearing from the audited
I feel the tree like that Montego Bay.
Even though this was caught and detected by the auditor, nothing was done. So what is going to be in place going forward so that this doesn't happen with 68% of taxpayers' money?
I mean, I would say, Member Corporate Fin, some of those decisions need to be taken at the executive level of the government in terms of how it structures. I mean,
so the minister not doing what neither. Christopher Tufton not doing the work. Because if he oversight the thing, he must have people report to him. If you know, all the matter you never know, say,
so it would be more
Princess Margaret Hospital and go have one
in
ambulance.
general corporate governance, the majority funders or majority owners tend to have the majority seats on a board. That's generally how it works. And while we know the university is a training institution and has a parallel reporting structure, there's clearly a need for change here, given where the funds are coming from and the need to protect the interests of taxpayers' monies in this regard. But let me, Member Frank, go ahead. Why you turn up? Don't turn off your mic. Go ahead, Member. Bring the thing closer to you. So
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My understanding in respect of the work of the internal auditor, my understanding is not that you are there to audit and give a report, but I think the internal auditor, his or her position really is to look at the day-to-day transactions and to ensure that
With a tapping
we
nice.
can
I know we are
mitigate
chatting.
against what we are seeing or what we are hearing.
You need to go along a
the
fair yard.
findings. So for me, I'm kind of trying to understand when you say that you reported, you would have captured some of these situations and you would have reported. But I believe that the internal audit is to look at the transaction as they go through the various departments and to mitigate against what we are seeing here today. I would love for you to give me some direction in relation to that.
I mean, he can identify, make recommendations, but he can't implement.
No, I'm saying you're right. So if you identify a problem, there's something wrong with a particular transaction, and we're identifying as the internal auditor, then that transaction would never, should not have gone through, so that we are here today looking at.
No,
generally, the auditor can't tap it.
I'll allow him to explain,
No,
but generally,
the internal auditor who sits in the
The auditor, not the manager. The auditor, not the manager. What kind of madness in a place
their
like that?
processes tend to be post fact or after the fact. So he wouldn't be able to.
That's not my understanding. And that's
well, all right, I'll invite the CEO to.
You're correct, Chair. That's exactly how it
Vian,
works.
good night.
It is after
Full of
that
criminal.
they
Full of
auditors
criminal.
come in to do
Pay
their
a
work,
criminal.
to review what
But you
has
notice
taken
a
place
Florence,
over
good
a
night.
past time period.
All of them.
Also, what you'll find, some reason why some of these transactions would not have been picked up by the internal audit
I
department,
impressed.
they took place
Nama.
outside of the university. So the use.
One not
the
chat
use
a
of,
one
like,
back. Where
the
all of them
sta-
big
the
old
tax
people
status,
attack a foolishness.
tax-free status was not processed.
Why you have an
internally.
auditor I establishment?
That you can't really
And then find something I can report to. Who them for report to? And who them report to? I do not. You can't blame the auditor.
I was going to, I'm waiting to go issue by issue, so let me wait on that. But that is, when we get to that particular issue, I'll invite you to elaborate on that. But Mr. Internal Auditor, if you could just explain for the benefit of the committee how you operate, how your department operates in relation to, what happens at the hospital.
Thank you, Chair. So at the beginning of each year, we do an annual risk assessment, and that risk assessment is underpinned by the various risk factors that the hospital would have. So we do that assessment, put in a risk framework, do the assessment, and prioritize areas that we will do our assurance work during the calendar year. That would go to the board, the subcommittee of the board called the audit committee. They will review it. It will also go to the CEO, which is the head of the entity, for review. And once they sign off on that work program, we will execute according to that work program for the entire year and provide quarterly reports to the board, which is the audit committee. So each assurance work that we do, Chairman, that we would provide a report, do a reporting to the CEO and to the audit committee of the board, and each quarter they will review it, those findings, and whatever. My work really stops at that point. It's a duty and function of the
You're
audit
perfectly
committee
right.
to
Your job stop right
call
there,
in
so for
various
you.
heads of departments and deal with those matters. So once I've reported it to the head of the entity and the audit committee chair, they are, based on the government audit committee policy, they should action those issues that are in the report And once they
You're
accept
right.
those
You're
issues,
right.
and we make recommendation, they should implement them. And we will do a follow-up on those issues and provide report to the CEO and the audit committee on whether or not those issues have been rectified. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Member Miller and then Member Cousins.
Thank you, Chair. This message, this question for guidance from the Auditor General. In terms of procurement limits, could you guide me as how what's the amount that goes to a procurement committee versus cabinet versus the board, whether or not this falls within procurement policy as you have seen with the University of West Indies, or they have a different limit? Just for guidance, what exists with the procurement policy versus the board?
I know it really shouldn't be
Yeah,
yours, but
yeah,
ask
he might
Minister
have
of Finance,
CEO. He might have
Mr. Lake, or
CEO.
your designate to
He might have
answer that
CEO,
question.
Vian. So they should have hold him responsible.
Good morning, everybody.
Just indicate your name and position.
My name is Jovel Barrett. I'm the Chief Public Procurement Policy Officer at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. The procurement committee inside of the entity, the limit that is set is set by the head of entity. The practice is for that limit to be anything above the single source completion threshold, which for goods and services is $3 million. So anything above that goes to the procurement committee.
Yes.
Just for clarity, make the distinction between procurement committee of an entity versus the government's public procurement committee.
Right. So internally, in an entity, you have a procurement committee which has the mandate of reviewing and making recommendations to the head of entity as to whether or not it should or should not approve a procurement contract. Separately, you have the Public Procurement Commission, which
But me want to find when I need some different department. You see, anytime people are trying to rob something, when I need some department for it.
Inside the entity, what they review is dependent on what the
Boy,
head of
I
entity
know,
says
sir.
they should review. The general practice is that they review anything above the single source completion threshold, which is $3 million for goods and services and $5 million for works contracts. Now, the head of entity can approve a contract up to $60 million.
Mm-hmm.
If the contract amount is above $60 million but less than $100 million, then that contract needs the approval as well of the Public Procurement Commission.
Well, that need for change. Everything must go through.
Above $100 million, the contract would need the approval of the head of entity, the Public Procurement
Too
Commission,
many
the Cabinet of Jamaica. So those are the relevant limits.
Mr. Chairman.
And then I need all of that,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
It does not need all of that.
That question. Some entities, depending on the risk factor, would set thresholds between the $5 million and
Good
the
night,
$60
Anne-Marie.
million. For example, where I worked before, anything over $30 million must go to the board for approval. And at the end of every month.
But that is determined by the entity itself.
Yes.
It's not uniform across the board.
No, because some people might say we live within the $60 million, and some entities might say, no, I want to get involved early, I want to probe early, I don't want any surprises. So I've worked in other institutions in the ministry.
You don't hurt me for see them big old people that sit down and try if you
lower than that $60 million that Mr. Barrett.
And then we all them know are going.
All right. Yes, Ms. Miller.
Just a follow-up, Chair. What, in terms of UHWI, what is the board, what are the limits for the board at UHWI in terms of?
The UHWI follows the limits set by the government. So the limits that were explained by the Ministry of Finance just now is
Well, may I wait for ear for him talk, him not come out yet.
We should follow.
So when does it go to the board? Because
Good
I
night,
remember earlier
Peggy.
mentioned at what limit it goes to the board?
No, At this time, we only follow straight the government. We don't have a system whereby there's a limit to say it must go to the board. We are
What
following
kind of
what the
madness them
government
on that ear?
procurement
On that ear
guidelines.
what going? On that listen what going? On if you listen,
Member
about to get
Cousins,
boring
I
and
see
listen. It's
Member
important to
Hamilton
listen.
and
So
Morrison
hear the
and
whole story. Wait.
Thank you, Chairman. The question is one of the same procedural line of.
I make a narrative. That's what them I do. And because we not pay attention to what's going in our country, make so much things are going
Minutes
on,
of the
you know.
board meeting.
We have to pay attention because we never know all them mess up me happen. Yet the bed not there for people on the medication. I have to pay to go do x-rays. I hear how much money I go down the waste.
Minutes of the meeting.
It is unfair.
Should,
Yes.
ought to.
Yes, ma'am. Ought to. Yeah.
Yeah, emphasis on ought to.
Yeah.
And these minutes of these meetings, how long would you keep them on record?
We would keep them for a long time because you can destroy the minutes, and the ministry would not be the only entity who would have the minutes. The minutes would originate from the particular department.
Oh, you listen to them, me never get to listen to them. So me I listen to them
where the
tonight.
minutes go to the
Pay chopping.
minister, and it comes to the attention.
Pay chopping, a pay chopping I go on there.
The issue arises.
Imagine down a man
from
take a
the,
beer.
from the minutes of the meeting and there was no action, then the region could have stepped in at that stage, or the minister, correct?
No, the region should have stepped in before. In case of a region, the region ought to have stepped in before because we get the minutes of the regional boards.
Yeah.
Just
But
like we should get the minutes of the unit.
So it goes to the region and the minister. It misses the attention, or the region omits to.
It is a big, you know why it's a big embarrassment this?
But the minister,
University Hospital of the
who
West
gets a
Indies.
copy of that report,
People
when he
from
looks
all
at the
across the
report,
Caribbean come
and he
there.
identifies that there's an issue that has not been addressed.
I have to know that they're
What is the
coming
next
there
step?
and I pay a criminal them a
What is
come
the
out.
procedure from
Well, I can't speak for the minister.
They can't sue him for what?
Minister
Like a
have
bright like a
representatives on the
star.
board. He appoints the board members. He appoints the chairman. The
Hi,
permanent
Florence.
secretary as a representative on
They're really
board.
confused, got a
You
confusion.
have an ex officio
Yes.
generally for most
No.
boards.
We have for most boards, the permanent secretary have a representative on the
Okay.
regional boards. The CMO is a member of the University Hospital Board by virtue of her being the chief medical officer of Jamaica. When things happen at the board meeting, it is a responsibility, if there is something of concern, for the chairman to speak to the minister. The minister appoints the chairman. For the chairman to speak to the minister.
So
If
hold
there's
on.
an-
Good night,
a matter
Evie.
That is egregious.
Hold on. So the chairman who the Tufton appoint. The Ministry of Wellness appoint the chairman. Remember what the audit guy said? He report the thing to the chairman. And the chairman do nothing about it. So make we follow what we are listening now. If we listen this, you know, this need for go before the judge, you know. Because somebody need for go to prison.
Needs the minister's attention.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. And so, PS, so all road lead back to the minister.
I would not say that because the minister.
But that I just say,
The minister appoints a board.
But you just said that. It's a good question, cousin.
Or two, because the board is chaired by
That even
somebody
pale.
who is appointed by the minister. And naturally, if there is something egregious coming up, such as this matter, the board
these
chairman
matters,
immediately
that's
advised
one matter,
the minister. Pardon?
These matters, there's several issues.
There are several issues in this particular situation that would not necessarily have raised themselves to the board level.
What kind of madness them are going?
You know, as a chief internal audit executive,
We should have
said,
called Tufton need to resign.
but the chief audit executive
So we'll not run
would
about Dennis
conduct this audit
Garden.
in
I mean, I
accordance
have to
with
back
this
him
plan.
tonight, you know. But him couldn't get through all of them avenue, yeah, unless somebody know.
The chief audit executive actually reports to the chairman of the audit committee with a dotted line to the CEO.
The chairman who is a member of the board.
Yeah. Yes, the chairman of the audit committee is a member of the board. Yes, it's a board committee. Right. So once the audit is completed.
Thank you, Natalie. Then things are right there.
He meets with the audit committee, and the matter is discussed. And he might not be a part of the board. He definitely is not a part of the board. But what happens?
Exactly, Vian. Agree.
Is that on the minutes, on the agenda of the board?
We might find a way to scams, keep it honest.
from the audit committee and the matter of the discussion.
I never know all of my stuff. I'm glad to hear this out here in the public, so I'm listening it.
Right.
All right, member, I don't know if it's Hamilton. Yes, go ahead, member Hamilton.
Thanks, Chair. Based on what I'm hearing, I find that there are a number of irregularities and anomalies within the governance structure of the university. But one that stands out for me is the audit finding speaking to contracts that were approved by the CEO without documented evidence of evaluation or procurement committee review. And I wanted to find out whether the internal auditor ever highlighted any such irregularity and whom did he report that to?
You heard the question, sir? All right, just repeat your question, member Hamilton.
There is an audit finding that states that contracts were approved by the CEO without documented evidence of evaluation or procurement committee review.
So the CEO a tough time friend.
Highlighted such an irregularity, and to whom did you make that report in that instance?
All right, thank you, member. Not the same instance, but in similar instances, because normally when we're doing those reviews, we would have looked in the minutes to see those contracts that were approved, and we had issues, we have highlighted issues in which we saw contracts that were completed, but we did not see them as ratified in the minutes. And it's in the audit findings, in the audit reports, and it is there, and nothing was done about it. All our audit reports are sent to the audit committee and the CEO. We have a dual reporting relationship where we report administratively to the CEO and functionally to the audit committee. So every quarter, Chair, the audit committee would
call up the CEO there for it, please.
The audit
the CEO need to be in Parliament. I want to hear a question.
These will also be sent to the CEO for action. Thank you, member.
So you're saying that in that particular instance where the CEO, there's an issue with contract approval by the CEO, that such a report was also sent to the
Mocha step in, but I don't know nobody not arrested yet.
That particular issues, I'm saying, member, that were similar issues.
But that is what you're saying would happen when you have a report about an irregularity. It goes to the CEO and the chairman of the audit committee of the board.
Yes, member.
For action to be taken.
Yes, member.
Member Morrison.
Thank you, Chair. Sometimes the public, they are watching the PAC, and sometimes they need to follow closely, and I'm going to ensure that they follow. We're looking at audit findings here. And just let me highlight a few, and this is for the interest of those watching. Procurement documentation not provided for 51 of 11 contracts.
What?
Of 111 contracts.
What?
Contracts approved by CEO without documented evidence of
so the CEO again.
Procurement
the CEO again,
Procurement
the CEO must get locked up
after delivery of goods and services. Retrospective bidding used to support completed works. Contract splitting used to fall below procurement threshold. Direct contracting used for approximately 64% of procurement activities. So this strikes me, Chairman, as a cocktail of inefficiency, and which, of course, I'm of the view, created the facility for all of these breaches. Now, let us look at management's response, which I am of the view...
Just procedurally,
Right.
before you came in, what I intended to do was go through them one by one.
Hold on, Chair.
Yeah.
Allow me. I'm getting there. I'm of the view that the management's response in this instance is somewhat in parts incongruous. 28 missing files located, efforts ongoing to locate missing files, instructions issued to discontinue identified practices, and so on. What were the consequent actions pertinent to these breaches identified in the audit findings, and who is complicit and or culpable, and what is the head of procurement saying in these matters? Thank you.
Well, I first never hear she attacks us, sir.
Well, I'll invite the acting
what's your name
CEO,
again?
to comment.
Deliberate,
As he
girl.
said, he's
What's it?
new to the position.
Pretty
but he
little
can-
party.
but
What's your name again?
The team is here that can support him.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Member. I did state in my opening remarks, I'm not sure if you were here, that there is a committee formed by the board, the Catherine Phipps Committee, that is investigating the matters related to the Auditor General's report and to identify staff members who may be liable
That's her name, Tafisha.
in the instances, and then make recommendation as to the actions that should be
Yeah, you're
taken.
too bad.
There is also the police and the customs who are involved, along with the Integrity Commission, who are doing their investigation to identify where there may be anything related to any illegal practice and to take the necessary action. So we are awaiting
And a Cuthbert
those
attack,
response,
man.
as
I did,
explained, Mr. Chair.
I forget
there
the
is
other
only-
name.
We have
Oh my
received
God.
one report only from customs to date, and they have said they will be coming to us with the others. And we received that just on Friday of last week.
Yeah, currency and Maris.
So there are things.
A
being
Maris
put in
or
place,
Marisa? Which
and we
one?
have changed a lot of the procedures. We have done some training for the staff, a serious amount of training during that time, and we have issued letters to persons to cease and desist from certain activities.
All right, members, we have spent about an hour and 15 minutes, just under. No, man, I asked many pertinent questions that were on your mind, right? And I could read your mind. What I want to go to now, I wanted to go to the specific findings, but you have a question? Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted a follow-up on the audit findings on procurement documentation not provided for 51 of the 111 contracts. Were any of those found since this, 29 of the 51 were, you found those?
Member Flynn, the whole, what I want to do, I'm going to get to it,
Right.
you know, but we could just go finding by finding. We're not rushing. There's no parliament, so we have all day.
I have another meeting.
Yeah, I know, but the reason I want to do it finding by finding, I don't want to go to 4, then come back to 1, etc. We could go finding by finding. Trust me, we're going to go through every single one.
Yeah, but I think I'm not understanding how is it that the procurement head, as far as the system, there must be a system there. And how is it that documentation were not able
Just
to be
hold
found?
it. Yes, I have your concern too, you know. Believe you me, but I'm going to get to it. Let's just do the
Hi,
key
Connie,
finding
good
number
night.
1. Absence
Ivan.
of strategic documents and procurement planning. Now, I've seen in the management's response that reports for 26, 27, etc. have been done. Now, my question is, and the acting CEO may not know, but for those who would have worked there before, were there reports done for the last 10 years?
Hi, Terry. Thank
Procurement
you.
reports, strategic plans, etc. before this. I see what is being done now, but what would have existed for 10, 15 years before this? And I don't know who can answer that question for me.
The record
PASC.
does not indicate that this was being consistently done. And in fact, for the period that the Auditor General reviewed, there were some that were done but were not properly approved. And so it was considered as not being done. And what we have done, however, is that the 26-27 has now gone through the procedures.
Oh yeah, one a pack and one a
of approval,
PAC, you know.
and has been
Yeah,
approved by
pack.
the board for 26-27. The strategic plan, 26-27. The operational plan, the strategic plan, and the procurement plan have all gone through the necessary required procedure and have now been approved.
Can I ask, when was the last time an external audit was done of the university hospital?
The last one was done for 2018-2019. It was done by KPMG. The one currently being done that will, as I had mentioned, will recommence in April is for 2019-2020, and for 2020 to 2025 that was tendered, and a firm has been selected, but we are awaiting the completion. Some work will take place on the 20 to 25, but we are awaiting the finalization of the 19 to 2020 to in order to move forward.
Yeah.
And maybe Ministry of Finance, is it a requirement that this should be an annual exercise for the external audit?
Pat?
We're going to come back to that
Pat?
because there are a number of public bodies
Yeah.
that I know are very delinquent in
Something
terms
up on the
of
fire, look
their
on it.
annual reports and audited financials. But we have to pay attention to the ones
Oh,
where
bunting, yeah.
there are billions of
Thank
dollars
you,
being spent.
Florence.
And this is one such case where we're
But this
spending
is a big
billions of
disgrace,
dollars.
though, you know.
So let me ask members, any other questions on, yes, Member Brown, key finding one.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I see where the Auditor General in the audit findings related to this particular one would have said that there was a failure to provide strategic plans despite having hired and paid 2 consultants USD $186,000 or approximately 30 million, and she referenced it earlier on in our opening remarks. That that was paid out and they still can't find any document. I don't know if it should be directed to the CEO. I know you are new, but I know you have officers behind you. You have your full team here. What happened? How that go? Could you also name the consultants, the 2 consultants, and what their purview, what were their responsibility? Give us an overview. But $30 million were paid to 2 consultants, and the Auditor General can't find no reports or nothing. So could you give us
For the person who do that now, if all them.
Name who those consultants were and what they actually did.
Okay, there are 2 firms that were employed. One was to help with the strategic plan, and that contract was for approximately 90 million. And then of the 186, it was 50% of the contract for the other person.
Friend and family wish, bro. Yeah.
Sorry, no, it says in total has been paid out is 186.
You're right, Florence.
US. 90,000, sorry. 90,000 would have been paid to want to do the strategic plan, which was done.
Give me the name. We might ask for the name. We want to hear all
was
them.
the report from the second consultant, which in fact we have subsequently provided to the Auditor General and to the Ministry. They were contracted because their contract could not be located at the time, as well as we were able to obtain a preliminary report from them in February of this year, and also a copy of the contract. They signed the contract. So there was a contract but not signed.
Oh, yes, Nadi, for real.
And the preliminary report from the second. And the second one was there to provide...
Anytime you fired Tufton and Andrew Holness, we will fire Dennis Garden. Because then they're top of the list. Him come behind. Because there's no way Dennis Garden could have get through without the minister and no. So anytime you fire Tufton and Andrew Holness, we fire Dennis Garden.
The contract was done after the findings of the Auditor General. That's what you're saying?
No, it was this
because you say you couldn't find
it was recovered. It was found after, but it was signed before the the Auditor General's finding.
We're just listening to what going on now for right
It
now.
wasn't
The sound
presented.
taking
It was
something
not
about.
presented.
Just
So
hold
it
on.
was there. What we're seeing, it was signed before, but it was not presented to the
Anyhow,
auditor.
Dennis God forget fire. Andrew Holness I forget fire first, and then Tufton, and then we fire Dennis God. Simple as that.
All right, I just need a bit of clarification. What is it that was present, that was missing, that was found?
The signed contract?
The contract?
Yes.
Okay, so are we speaking about the contract or the strategic plan?
The strategic plan as well as the two consultants who were hired.
Oh, the consultant. Right, so, okay, fine. All right, so let me speak about the strategic plan and the operational review, because we spoke about not seeing an approved strategic plan.
Yes.
So an entity was engaged to undertake a strategic review and transformational review as well?
Yes.
No. One was
and them after one now the other three of them.
turnaround. One was for strategic and transformational, and produce a transformational plan. But that's not a strategic plan. So we did not see the strategic plan. My colleague is letting me know that the intent was to use strategic review and
I know where
transformation
them
plan
chat
to
with.
inform the
Come listen to this and hear how much gap in it underneath your Minister of Health portfolio. And that's what we talk about.
You use the word approved a couple of times. Is it that it existed but was not approved by the entity?
Peer corruption.
It was not approved by the board.
It wasn't approved by the board, but it existed.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So it's on draft, but no.
Okay, so there was a draft report.
The draft presented to the board, but the board did not accept it and did not approve it.
Really? Ter? This won't put you in our back. Just hold on. I just want to listen to this. Because I don't really know the whole life story. So I want to listen to the story first, then we can discuss the story.
That plan. But last week, we received a draft.
So I plan to sit down until this done because we're going to discuss it. But I want to make sure.
That is correct. Along with the
Let me put the phone
signed
the phone there on there,
contract between us and the person doing that.
Okay, so we were of the impression that the consultant failed to provide the document at the time that it should have been provided, but they submitted
last week
in February 2026.
So
that's my understanding.
Let me, so I can be clear. There were two consultants engaged.
That's right.
One provided a plan which went to the board but was not approved by the board.
Strategic plan.
The strategy wasn't approved by the board.
So we don't need all of them a board sitting there.
But the board didn't sign off on it. The second one, you said the document itself was just provided 2 months ago, February, last month?
Last week.
And my understanding is that it was submitted, the draft, what we saw, a draft document that, right, and let's just put this into context because this contract was 2024 and the document should have, because as you know, a turnaround means that you need to address something, so it should have been produced 4 months after we received it.
Baga.
Yeah, so the question is on the second one.
Oh, okay, Empress, I say go, man.
Was the consultant fully paid?
No. He has been paid 50%. So the first one, the total amount was approximately 90,000 US. On the second one, the total amount is approximately 180,000 US.
Oh, wait a minute.
The first one was paid 90, and the second one was paid another 90, which comes up to about the 186,000. Now,
oh, wait a minute,
so
kind of drama you're here tonight.
The payment, we up to the time and I
came, and all of pay them the money, them never see the corruption.
Report, but he provided us
or come and put them the in for collect more money. The country can't continue to run some John.
When was he contracted, or she?
In 2024.
So it took 2 years and the Auditor General report.
End of 2024, sorry.
2 years and the Auditor General report to get a draft? After
oh,
getting 50% of money?
All of the people. Oh, no, I hear them a kind of madness, sir.
For the entity to get something?
Oh my God. No, man.
Really a joke.
This is a joke, you know. That's a real drama.
I just wanted to be clear, because that is crazy.
It's
that
crazy.
Pay 50% almost 2 years, and only because the Auditor General goes in that he produces that report after getting 50% of money. Madness that.
More madness.
Madness that.
I mean, it points again to a broader systemic problem. Member Morrison would have raised the full listing. Yes. Yeah, it points again to,
Exactly. I feel them friendly sending them about consultant.
I don't want to blame you
Hey,
or the hospital.
and a tough time leadership still in
directly, but there is a need for, and as we deep dive into further things, because Chairman, we may have to come back.
Cheese and peace. How are
there
them over here?
that are here that needs to be properly ventilated, as Member Morrison is saying, so that the public understands it. But what is being painted is just, a free-for-all and...
A free-for-all.
And
a free-for-all. I same thing happened down in Montego Bay, and no need for step up on it too. Pay thieving.
I want to find out how often is their procurement committee
Hi,
in place?
Tamika.
How often do they meet? And why is it that there was no procurement plan in place? And how the procurement committee went about approving contracts if you don't have records? So I don't know if you'll be able to help me or...
Yes. The procurement committee meets every fortnight on a scheduled basis, but there are circumstances that may require them to meet even within that time period because of urgency of matters. They will, what is presented to them,
the Coral report, same thing, Vian, same thing.
Highlighted, would have to go and be reviewed by them.
Get to share up your money, no consultant.
Operate. There are minutes
hey,
of
them
their
people in the
meetings.
main were not good enough.
There in the past, some were not, things as the auditors said, were not in the minutes because they were not presented to the procurement committee for review.
So how did the procurement committee go about approving the contracts if documents weren't presented?
Well, they didn't approve anything. It didn't come to them, so they would not have approved or rejected anything.
So the procurement committee then just existed and met and did not approve anything?
No.
Corruption.
No, there are
so good, Clovis,
things
so
highlighted
true.
by the Auditor General and by our internal audit, where in fact items that were processed did not go through the proper procedure, which include a procurement committee having received it, reviewed it, and made a decision on it.
Very well. So the procurement committee then was circumvented in this process?
In some cases.
All right, Member Corporate, right?
Yeah, I just want to I want to place on record, because we hear of these things too often about companies who are, hired to, to do something. And when taxpayers' money is being spent, there's this disregard for taxpayers' money. And I just want to kind of put it out there that, I hope that, and I hope we don't continue to see these things happening, especially with what we're finding now. And I know that we have seen this happen over and over again. And it is quite telling that people really don't see government spending as anything
you remember get something for drink here?
Important, and I guess they just take it as something simple as, oh, it's taxpayers' money, so it's free money. And it is, I really hope that going forward systems are put in place where we're not just paying a company $90,000 US dollars, getting nothing for it, and it's just a brush off kind of a thing. And a nothing. I really hope that we wake up from this dream. We really wake up from this going forward and not take taxpayers' money as some sort of a free money. We have to hold people accountable. We have to start holding people accountable. and that this is not, my taxpaying dollar is not free.
Fully agree with you. All right, I want to go to key finding number 2, non-compliance with Government of Jamaica JEP portal requirements for procurement. And I have seen the response. I see there was a circular dated June 3rd, 2023, but it seemed that circular was disregarded, and then there was a memoranda. I assume this date should be October 5th, 2025, not 2026, right? But again, retrospectively. So my question, and the acting CEO may not be able to answer because you're new, but how can people be staff just disregard a requirement to use a portal, which is what's supposed to happen, and nothing happen? That's what I want to know. So if a CEO sends out memoranda in 2023 instructing people to follow the guidelines, use the portal, nothing is done, and it just goes so. No referral to HR, nothing written on a file, nothing. It just goes so. Who can guide this committee in answering that
and
question?
KFC. I've heard you.
Mr. Ainsworth Buckridge, who is the Senior Director for Procurement.
Them not no shame to, you know. All them are kind of disgrace and them not no shame.
A response.
Okay. Good morning again, Chairman. What
can you say how long you've been in that post, sir?
Well, I've been in this post for approximately 10 years.
Okay.
I was removed, transferred to another department the 1st of February 2024 and reinstated the 2nd of February 2026.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and explain to us why this wasn't being followed, the portal requirements for procurement.
Well, since my return, I realized that based on the audit findings, that the portal is to be used 100% of the time. So
was it being used any of the time?
Yes, it was being used. What was done, all procurement over 10 million was being used, uploaded to the portal. And so what we have done now...
Was it that there was a misunderstanding that things below 10 million didn't need to go on the portal?
For the most part, I think there was a misunderstanding in terms of...
What kind of madness is?
All right, I'm going to allow him to, but you can hear from the members their concern about this. And the fact that even though it's over 10 million, it is a very small number of the transactions that were done that were actually uploaded to the portal.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to understand is what would be the issue that would prevent people from uploading to the portal, and then this must have been, somebody must have seen that this wasn't being done. What was being done to hold those persons accountable?
So that even minister no look for
Chair,
how was this, sir?
I think there was a lack of training and
lack of what?
implementation of the
So not
policy,
employ people without
the
training?
policy.
Man, go sit down.
Which, as I've said from the beginning, Mr. Chair, that we are fully in agreement with it.
You well know we're going up. If I hear you chatting about
there has just been breaches after breaches and lack of implementation. And so they did not implement the policy as it should have been. We have now done that as of March 1. All, not some, all, no matter the size, must be on the portal and are being placed on the portal.
No, I appreciate it, Mr. Hosing, what you're doing going forward. I appreciate that. But I still need to understand why you said training and capacity. But I can't buy that because some of the transactions were being uploaded. So it's not that people never know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people
nonsense
didn't
in my
know
chat.
how to upload it. There's a reason people chose not to upload these transactions. And I need to know why. And in a scenario like this, how were people, what did people hold up their hand and say, well, I'm having a technical problem or nothing? And didn't somebody notice that these things weren't being done and say, listen, we must follow these GOJ requirements? That's because a circular was sent and basically ignored. And that's what I'm trying to understand. I appreciate what we're doing going forward, but we must understand what took place. And if something took place, what was done to correct it, etc. So I give you back the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chair. From my understanding, the circular, the procurement unit was not aware of this particular circular at the time.
No, hold on. Let me read. Procurement department members were instructed to strictly follow the circular dated June 3rd, 2023. So what? The circular never reached the people, eh?
I didn't
You're right.
No, I'm reading what the management's response is.
I thought you were mentioning
You said they married you, Fergie.
the Ministry of
Yes, and the response of management.
They married
I'm
you.
reading management's response. The procurement department members were instructed to strictly follow the circular dated June 3rd, 2023.
Don't spot them.
Yeah, but so what? From 2023 onwards, we're fully compliant?
No, Mr. Chairman. I think what the Auditor General explained is that the compliance.
Why have this man when you fair answer my question? Go back for the old one then.
Sent to them after the Auditor General had finished their work. They were being
So they never saw this before?
They were not practicing it. Some were saying they never knew of it. And
so who employ you to a
that's
job?
what I want to know. So if that's so you're saying, sir, that why you keep turning off your mic? Keep on your mic. You're saying that the staff in the procurement department were not aware of this requirement before the Auditor General came in?
Yes.
That's what you said?
Yes.
Oh, what kind of madness is? Oh, no, hear them a kind of madness?
Sorry. All right.
Me no plan, Natalie.
So
you're
saying the procurement department only became aware of the need to do this after the Auditor General's report?
Yes, sir.
But this get bizarre and bizarre and bizarre. But hold on before I come to you. Miss Blake, you have to help me as Ministry of Finance. This would be a circular which comes from the Ministry of Finance, which is sent to each ministry to be sent to each department, agency under the purview of each ministry, right? The U is a big entity. It's not a patty shop. It's not a little
and then a patty shop.
Shilling your
and then a patty shop.
And you're going to say that nobody in the they were using it in 2021? So how, sir?
Oh, we started to use it, sir. We went on a training.
When?
In 2021. And we were told that there were 5 organizations that were being used as a pilot project.
Okay.
And it relates to GoJeb. And that is when we said we would
start to go yet, man, because the sweet partner come up here.
We were not a part of that pilot. We had made a decision internally to start to use the system with 10 million and above.
So that decision was made by what? The procurement department?
The procurement department, sir.
From 2021?
Yes.
So everything from 2021 going forward, you would have been complying with everything 10 million or
10
more?
10 million and above, sir.
So...
But the Auditor General not said that. So that madness you attack.
Even with that...
Lock up no wonder we attack. Him know something where my eye. Lock him up.
800. So everything that was not put up was below 10 million? Couldn't be. It's only 20 of 800 transactions were uploaded to the portal. And you say you were doing 10 million or more. Is it that this 780 were below 10 million?
We do, yes, sir.
Yeah?
Because we do a lot of,
You sure? Make sure if you're not sure.
Well, I would have to have the empirical data.
Yes. If you're not sure, don't say that, because that don't sound right to me. That can't be right. Sorry, Miss Blake, I just want your intervention or somebody from your team in terms of when this portal was implemented.
Him know something, man. Him know
how the
something.
communication took place to the ministries, agencies, and departments. Just press your mic. So.
Right. Morning again. So we did have a pilot. So the system came about around 2016. We did have a pilot, and in 2023, we would have issued a guidance note indicating that it is mandatory, which was also followed up by a circular sent to all the public bodies, ministries, departments, and agencies. The Office of Public Procurement Policy would have also conducted training with public bodies regarding the use of GoJeb. And I'm aware that a number of entities, they're using the platform, but they're not using it fully. Right? And I know that the University Hospital of the West Indies has been using the platform, though not fully. In the sense that you're required to use the platform to advertise your procurements and then to close out your procurement and publish a contract award notice so that the public can see what contracts you are letting. What some entities do is they use it to advertise, but do not go back into the system and close out the contracts so that the public can be notified of the award of contracts. But we have conducted training over the years since 2023 to know, and we send out blasts from time to time to entities on our mailing list, and the University Hospital of the West Indies would be on that.
Well, let me ask you, because it's a systemic issue, and who monitors whether the government spends millions of dollars putting in a system like this? Is it that each ministry through the PS has the responsibility to monitor and determine whether there's compliance with this, or does that sit somewhere else? Because UHWI is not the only hospital, is not the only entity that would not be compliant. So to what extent would you be able to say what the overall compliance is in the public sector with this system?
Right. So the Office of Public Procurement Policy controls the GoJeb platform, and so we can see who use and who do not use the system. I can provide you with the exact data in terms of what the compliance level is. I mean, I can tell you though that it is the closeout of the contracts is low. The rate of usage is higher, but the closeout is low. But I can provide you with the exact data. What I'd say though is that Section 19 of the Public Procurement Act makes clear that the head of entity has the responsibility of ensuring that there's compliance with the Act, regulations, and administrative guidance that comes from the Office of Public Procurement Policy.
That's something I would like you, as a follow-up to the meeting, to provide that, because this goes to the heart of accountability. Taxpayers need to know how their funds are being spent. Once a procurement goes out, it is advertised, and then you need to know you have awarded a contract. We need to know who
and the CEO to
Fergie and for how much. That's the heart of accountability and governance. So you're basically saying that you started in 2021, but again, I would like you as a follow-up, I don't want you to guess and spell, get the information from me, because what the report says is 20 out of 800, which is unacceptably low, and I can't accept that all of those 780 transactions would have been below 10 million, which would necessitate them not being uploaded. So get that data and provide it to the committee as a follow-up.
Okay, Chair.
Yes,
just a follow-up. He did say, though, Mr. Barrett, did you say the training for GoJeb was in 2023?
16.
I mean, we would have started before that, and it continued from year to year. So usually the Office of Public Procurement Policy We'll have trainings, particularly in the summers. We have summer series. In 2024, we had an Elevate Procurement Conference that had a lot of training around various aspects of public procurement.
And what was the amount that you would have to go on GoJeb for? Because I just did something as a member of parliament, and it was $5 million, and they had to go on the site.
So
I'm trying to understand, of the 20 that were published, does that mean then the 780 were below $5 million?
Right. So there's a mandatory requirement for using the GoJeb platform for anything above 1.5 million Jamaican dollars. For amounts below that, you are encouraged to use it, but it's not mandatory. But for anything above 1.5 million Jamaican dollars, there's a requirement for the system to be used.
So that's even crazier, because that means the University of the West Indies were purchasing stuff for below $1.5 million. Am I understanding correctly?
Well, the question I would ask is where the 10 million figure came from that you decided you'd use 10 million and above, given that the government's requirement is 1.5
Beverly Gray.
million.
Good night, Beverly Gray.
So where did that figure come from? Somebody just pull it out of the ear? How?
Long time to see
let me
you.
just ask, because maybe there's some rationale for the 10 million figure.
Okay, the rationale for the 10 million, it was an internal
Every
decision
cent spent to be
because
there.
of
That need for change.
the
Every cent, red cent for put there. I want bag of nonsense and you get them turn all of
So
them.
the department made a decision. Was that sanctioned by the board or anybody?
To my
management.
To my understanding, at the time, it wasn't mandated. 5 organizations, if I could remember, were doing the pilot project with GoJeb. So we at the time, it was still a pilot project, but we at the time feel that we learning the system. So when everything
All of my old people have to go sit on one side.
be fair without to monitor the system, and that
Them
is
in a
how
system and them know to manipulate it. Get rid of it.
came into being.
So basically a decision was taken to circumvent the system. I mean, that's what it is. Because
That's what it is.
No, but you can't tell me no if it's only 20 out of 800
That's what it
transactions
is.
were uploaded.
That's what it is.
Well,
One bag of robbery.
General, if I'm wrong.
All right, so my understanding, Mr. Chairman, as the procurement director said, in 2021, they were invited to participate in the training for the GoJeb, how to use the system. The circular did not come into being until 2023, but the requirements, the mandatory upload of all procurement came in 2023. So in 2021, the UHWI participated in the training and they took the initiative. They were not required to upload to GoJeb. They took the initiative to upload and so that they would start with procurements at $10 million and above. What they failed to do was actually in 2023, and I can't speak to about their knowledge of the circular, but I know that they received training at some point in time in terms of how to use the system.
Good question,
never went back
Fergie.
and adjusted the policy that they had implemented. So they never transitioned from the pilot into and to regularize the adoption of the requirements of the ministry.
I hear you.
Because I think they were doing it ad hoc. That's what we saw. They were just doing it ad hoc because they did not embed it in their control and governance process, which is what needs to be done.
That is correct, Honorable.
Oh boy. All right, thank you. Again, so your follow-up is to provide for us a report once you get the facts as to the 780 transactions that were not uploaded.
No coffee, girl. No coffee.
And why those were not uploaded.
Okay, Chairman.
All right, I'll go into key finding 3, which
Let me drink coffee now.
must be the most egregious of them. So somebody have helped me explain this one. The absence of procurement documentation. The University Hospital of the West Indies could not provide procurement documentation for 51 contracts. However, since then, 28 files valued at 269 million have been found, which means that we can't find 22 and one is incomplete. So
you're in a party now.
the 22 that can be found is 246 million and one incomplete is 18 million.
I knew.
So again, just explain to us as a committee, when a procurement is completed, what is the process to put that document, whether it's physical storage, online on a server. Just explain that process to me. Because this, when I'm starting with the acting CEO,
Ranga, good night.
But this one to me is the worst one. That you just can't find documents. Even after the Auditor General has been in, you have found about half of them. And obviously you've been looking for the rest and you can't find them.
Busy, I kill you. All right, make money, brother.
The member asked where were they. When I took up the position, I insisted that they must find them. And they were able to locate the 28, and then after submitting those 28, they found one more, make it 29. They have so far been unable to locate anymore. They were in storage in a story room, but it was never provided to the auditors. When they came, even after requesting it, they did not provide it to them. But I insisted that they should. I don't think there was, I wasn't there, so I can't tell you whether it was resistance or what, member.
It's resistance.
It could have been, lack of diligence and searching and insistence, but they were able to locate some. The search continues.
So that means that now you have audit and left something to everybody, and then have the good bookkeeping. What can go, sir?
So what is the standard operating procedure? I love this term. For when a procurement is complete, where those documents should be stored, clearly for audit purposes, for both internal and your external auditor, you have to keep your documentation. Where those documents should be held, etc. What is that procedure?
I'll ask Mr. Buckley just to share with the
yes.
meeting. Yeah.
Turn on back your mic.
Yes, Chair. The standard operating procedure is that each document procurement activity or file is filed in a file folder and placed in a hard binder and then transferred to a storage area where it can be retrieved. Upon my return to the unit, upon my return to the unit, I realized that this practice wasn't being followed. Hence, the reason why these files could not be located. And
so where would those files have been?
Those files should have been in a storage area. My understanding is that that area was flooded at least twice or 3 times based on heavy rainfall.
What a coincidence.
Be more specific.
What a coincidence.
What were the dates of? Because let me tell you, you know why this one is more serious? We don't know whether you're not even in a position to make an assessment. And I don't want to conclude that it is deliberate, because I don't know. But given everything that we have
what
seen,
a madness this.
You could infer.
Auditor General, Allah.
To say there were
never laugh too, because they're a real Dalios.
Cases of flood, because the first time we're hearing that. I don't know if that was shared with the Auditor General's department.
I share with the public, or we never hear some you will flood out.
Files in a place that flood out easy, you know, move it somewhere else, if that is the case.
Maxine, good night.
Help me on that one.
Enough respect to.
Tell me when those flooding took place and what.
Yes, where the flood out.
To the board, to the internal
We don't
audit
got sing, could I
committee,
say, lock up the wall of
etc.?
them.
Was there a request for removal to a different storage area? I need to know that. Well, let me ask him. Go ahead. So the three flooding out. Tell me when those took place. No, he said there were 3 cases of flooding. No, but help us there.
Okay, so that was my understanding that the area was flooded.
Who tell you so?
I didn't get the specific. I'm not aware of the specific. But
These-
while I was not there, understand that the area was flooded.
No, so all right. Is there anybody who can? Because this is the first. This was.
Hey,
a
them
report
are
to
some,
the
hey,
Auditor
them are some
General
serious
when she did her
corruption in our
review.
country, you know.
So it's the first time
A
hearing this
serious
about
corruption, them are
flooding.
not joke thing, you know.
I would like,
We made
as
a
part
laugh,
of
but
your
I'm not
report,
joke thing.
to tell us specifically when the flooding took place and whether when those incidents took place, whether management was informed, whether a corrective thing was put in place, whether it's flooding from the roof, the floor, whatever, to
Melissa, them
mitigate
are
against
blame.
that. We could never accept that 50% of documents valuing $280 million can't be found because of flooding. Because of flooding. I mean, you haven't even assessed the ones you have found yet to determine whether they're following proper procedure. Well, we need help. Who can help us with that? Internal auditor? You can help us with that? Because, yes, some were found. 28 were
They're
found.
quiet, Maxine.
So it must be from the same
And Melissa,
year
them
or
are
not,
blame.
where you find the 28th.
Or I must be
So
buried.
why can't the other 22 be found? Mr. Internal Auditor, help us here. We're, again, in conducting, you have to release your mic so I can turn on his. In conducting your internal, is that an issue which you identified and brought to the attention of the audit committee of the board or the CEO?
Thank you, Chair. Just for context.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just for context, the internal audit function had done 6 reviews of procurement section, and the issue of documentation not being found is institutionalized. It is systemic. We have done review of it, and on several occasions, we'd asked them to
Digital
put in systems
footprint,
in
yeah.
place to mitigate against that, and it is in the internal audit reports, and since recently, they have done something about it in terms of
Another
management
question,
has
we
put
want to know.
something in place, and we have reviewed that.
What has management put in place?
They have put in, as the senior director had said, filing cabinets, and
filing cabinets
and hard folders.
What kind of Fergie, me tell you, so this place still back way. And you hear about prosperity and country and move forward.
Over long
Filing cabinet.
We have reviewed them and report them to the audit
Instead of
committee.
store them in a cloud or something or some
that is
disk
where
or
it
something.
ends.
No, hold on. Help me again, because you are saying people put in place filing cabinet.
Yes, Chair.
Me have that on my yard, you know. Me have that on my yard. You can't tell me that the University Hospital at the West Indies that spend billions of taxpayers' money just put in place filing cabinet?
Yes, Chair. Yes,
No,
Chair.
man, a
Filing
joke
cabinets
thing.
and
A
hard
joke thing.
folders.
Cabinets and hard folders?
Yes, Chair.
So what existed before?
Right. So, Chair, those recent procurement activity, the board, which is the audit committee, had asked the internal audit function to review audit, read the issue of GoJEP for the period October 2025 to December 2025. And they have asked that the function reviews whether the procurement department is conforming to the GoJEP.
Melissa blow the money.
We have reviewed it and asked what system they have put in place to mitigate that issue that the Auditor General had identified in terms of record keeping. and they had indicated in their response that they have put in
So not 9 did
filing
before.
cabinets and hard folders,
So it was
and
a
those
free for all.
procurement activities are stored in hard folders.
And we have a
filing
minister
cabinets,
of
and we have reviewed
we
them
oversee
and
all these
confirmed
things.
that is so,
Well, we are
Chair.
pay with money.
So let me ask you, the files we can't miss, them walk out of the hospital and go up on Mona Road? No, seriously, help me. How can those, first we hear rainfall and wet up some files, right? And I would like that report, right? Formally. But how can so many files be missing? Somebody take them out of the hospital and go somewhere with them?
Just to say, Chair, in terms of the flooded, in one of our reviews, I think in 2020, that the internal audit reviewed, don't hold me to that, I have to go back
Exactly,
in the
to
report.
Fergie.
But they did mention, management did mention that there was an area flooded.
The criminality thing are going there. Robbery.
I did remember that in one of the reviews, Chair.
But if it's one thing to say the file them wet up, you know. Me understand if you tell me say the file them wet up. But if you tell me say you can't find the files, that should be in. So before the filing cabinets, which seem to be a great innovation of 2026, to put things in filing cabinet, where were these things being stored before?
As the Senior Director of Public Procurement said, Chair, they were in a storeroom. Just placed
What kind of storeroom?
Just in a holding area where they would store.
Like the shed at the back of my yard when I put my lawn on,
No, Chair, in the procurement unit, Chair.
I mean, I understand either.
People are watching, you know. And people are think a joke business, this, you know. No, people really don't think it's a joke thing that we can be saying in 2026 that an institution that spends billions of dollars just putting in filing cabinet.
No, this serious.
And file jacket, and you are storing these in a holding area that flood out 3 times. And nobody is held accountable. And you don't need to be, listen, nobody needs to be a procurement specialist and accounting professional to know that that is basic. I would like the report on that formally to be brought back to the committee because I can't accept it. I cannot accept that in this day and age, this is where we're at. Cannot accept that. And I don't have enough evidence to conclude that this is deliberate, and I won't say it. But it is hard not to come to that conclusion.
Deliberate.
Files. So you have the Auditor General do a report. You search hard, high and low, up and down, and it's only 50% of the file them you can find. If you tell me so them wet up and half dry, I thought we were now in the age where we were moving things from physical to electronic records. We scan things, so them dip on a server, etc., etc. I thought that's where we were. That we were not totally dependent on physical files that can get lost or fire or water. Have mercy. What? Turn on your thing.
I just want to know, since you mentioned flooding, what kind of system do you have now? Is there a management system where this is stored electronically, or is it that we're still using, still using a filing cabinet and not some sort of a data management system?
That is correct.
That is correct?
That is correct. It's
And
still
this
a manual
is 2026, so this is still a manual
It's
kind
still
of
a
a
manual
thing.
system.
Yeah, but right all over it's still a
We
manual.
talk about productivity and the lack of productivity. And this is exactly one of the reasons why we're not moving this country.
Yeah,
Because
on
the
the
lack
like
of
Cuthbert
will.
Flint has said, you
And
don't
the
hear
fact
that though.
you
And me.
mentioned persons not being held accountable. If it is that we don't get to a place in Jamaica where we can hire and fire people because of non-accountability, these things will continue where taxpayers' dollars, it's not meant anything. It mean nothing. It's taxpayer dollar, so we can just do as we wish.
You hear,
And what
you
I'm
naughty.
hearing is astounding.
I hope the
I
neighbor
am
right there
just
hear that. I'm
in
going to
total
copy out
shock for
that and
all
put a
the
video
things
on
that
it.
I'm listening to. And there's actually more here. We haven't started.
We're only halfway through. But, Madam Auditor General, when would you be in a position for the 28 that have been provided for you to do your diligence and then provide a report to us?
Mr. Chairman, that will have to be added to the list. I cannot promise that I'll be able to actually do that review for the next 6 months because we're really inundated at this point.
Okay. So let me ask you, Acting CEO, and Ministry of Finance could help me here. I genuinely thought that we, even where there were physical documents, there was a process to, scan, upload, digitize them. Is this the case in the majority of ministries, agencies, and departments that procurement files are all physical?
Most of them.
In some storage cabinet that could get wet or fire.
And I think they deliberately don't upgrade them to keep it this way that they can. Because if you put them on or you put them into the system, you can't recover them if they even delete them.
Somebody have released the mic so I can turn. Yes, go ahead.
Right. I know that we still keep physical documents, but again, we're going to emphasize the fact that if you use the GoJEP system, then that data would always be available.
Electronically.
Yeah. It's always
so
available.
There are still some physical files, but we are definitely pushing for the use of GoJEP.
Yes, Mr. Hosing.
Yes, Chair. As I've stated, we made it mandatory that as of March 1, all, even those below the 1.5 million that is optional, all, if this 1 cent, must go on to GoJet. So we do have that information on GoJet, but however, for the ones before, they would not all be on GoJet. And even so, in terms of there will always be some documents that are physical and not every single piece on GoJet. But all relevant and important pieces would be on GoJet.
All right. We have a long meeting. I'm just going to take, I'm going to take 2 minutes for a break because we're coming back. We don't have parliament, so I'm coming back. All right, so if you need to stretch or water or go to the bathroom, 2 minutes.
All right, so let me pause that. Let me pause that and make we raise a little bit. The country, so when we come here and tell them about the country back here, first you remember me I tell you so we're going to do the driver's license, right? And I can't believe that people in there are write question on paper with pencil. Come left where me and I come back and a computer, you do everything pan. You just press the answer them. False, yes, no. And come over your country. Consider them still a write on paper. Huh? It's a department where make billions of dollars for this country. And not even computer they not put in there. Them no want, them no, you hear them talk and go like they want to go digital. They no want to go no digital. They no want to go no digital. Jada? No, I'm not hear she say she cook up food. You hear? You see all when you hear him did the attack and that not done for no, brother, sister. The man on go try, if that even go done, a foreigner them are gonna sell out the place too.
Director of Procurement, or should I direct it to the CEO? Can you possibly give me a breakdown of the those 8? Because those are, big companies. No, 8 companies, 431. How it is divided among the 8? Among the 8, 1, and name the 8 so we can, because I can ask the AG that, but you have that information. And secondly, name the 8, how that 431 is divided in terms of value among those 8. Were those 8 beneficiaries of direct awarding in terms of the contract? So I don't know if it's you, Sir CEO or Director of Procurement, may have that. Now those are big money, and of the 521 here is 431, 83% is those 8.
Thank you, member. The details, I would have to put that together and submit to this committee at another time, but we do have the information.
All right.
But
Yes,
not with me, no, but we can
really
provide,
like to
we
get
can
them.
provide
Yeah.
you with the details of it.
I wanted to just probe a little more. I know you may not have the specific data in front of you, but are these, the 8, are these maintenance providers, meaning they deal with AC, elevator, things that may break down in a hospital that require immediate action? Are you in a position to say?
It says services, work, goods, so
Yeah.
it may span.
Not all, and in fact, some were consulting services.
There you
Okay.
go. There you
So
go.
that
And through your chair, I did not get the name of the 2 consultants with the 186,000.
for the strategic plan and the,
which we post. Yeah. Who are those?
The one that was recently provided, it was William Pragmatic Limited. They're from a firm of consultants, I believe, from Canada.
From Canada.
So what we need people from Canada for?
strategic plan?
Why not forget people from foreign for do them or something?
No, that's the one.
Come on.
The first one that provided a draft strategic plan that was rejected by the board. That one is strategic alignment. So they provided a report, but the board did not accept that strategic plan.
That's a Canadian company as well, strategic alignment. Is that a Canadian company as well?
No, I'm not sure of that. I think they are local, but I'm not sure. I can confirm. But what I do have is the second one, William Pragmatic. They're out of Canada. They provided a draft report, interim report, and there are several.
I know you're them a kind of madness, sir.
To complete, they say their
After
work.
we have so much bright brain in Jamaica.
All right. So you will provide the 8 that 431.
And a breakdown of the 431.
The name of the 8, the values beside it, whether they were beneficiaries, the method
A
of
draft.
awarding for each, as well as the particular service or work or good.
Whenever you never kind of something people.
Yes, I have a team recording that. So if you don't see me writing, the team.
Yeah, we will follow, because that's one of our follow-ups that we would need. Yeah.
Okay.
And then want smart
Yes,
city.
so the other final thing on this, there was a value of $681 million for consultants as well. Consultants, for hiring consultants and other related types of services associated with consultants. I take it probably would not have those names can share or a breakdown of that, because these are in the context of 64% direct awarding, in the context of missing documents, in the context of flagrant procurement breaches.
Robot.
It would be good because, the country, with this issue, the country has been hearing, references to entity and a lot of the stuff. So we want to, I know the AG department can tell us the names of all of these things, and we are going to another issue where we need to get all the names, so all the names are out there. So
come on, and a double tap up the screen. We should have reached 100 now, man, and I get special. Tap up the screen.
And procurement.
TikTok, YouTube, double tap.
Based on the statement coming out of the findings of the AG, we would be certainly myself would be very happy to get those.
The committee is requesting that from the university hospital, that they provide a breakdown of the 681 million, who it was provided to, for what services, and the amount for each. Same thing with the 8 companies that got the 431 million, what services are provided, and how much for each as well.
I will do my best to provide you with the detail. As you will appreciate, some of these things are under investigation by the police and by customs, and so we'd want them to complete that to confirm certain things before we go on.
I know, but all we are asking for is, we accept there may be other entities doing work, but in cases where public funds are spent, the public has a right to know how those monies were spent. And that's all we are asking. Yeah, we are requesting that. Yeah. All right, I see Member Miller, Member Cuthbert, and Member Cousins. Oh, Member Morrison. All right, Member Miller, then Member Morrison.
It is to the PS. The procurement committee, would you agree with me that the procurement department or committee operates in a very laissez-faire way? And the head of procurement has been there for, 10 years? But yet still we're seeing so many breaches, not using the GoJet, files are not being stored. Doesn't that concern you, that procedures are not being followed, the way they operate? Doesn't that concern you?
Yes, it does concern me.
What has been done, having taken up the portfolio, what has been done to correct that? Because we hear that it is systematic. The head of procurement has been there 10 years. He mentioned that he was removed and brought back. Is it that he was doing such a great job while he was removed? Or is it that he was brought back for a particular reason?
I could not answer that question. I'm not involved in the day-to-day operations of the University Hospital of the West Indies. And they report to a board. The CEO reports to a board. So that those questions are best directed that way. But to answer your question, I'm not satisfied.
Well, probably the CEO
the
is
question was
better
directed to me, so maybe the CEO can
able to assist me.
Mr. Bokridge was reassigned in 2025, early 2025. He was returned to his position in February of 2026. You're asking why he was reassigned. I think they were hoping for him to be a part of a team to deal with digitization of records and so on. He was brought back in 2024 as the reassignment did not follow the correct HR procedure, and therefore we had to correct that because of that problem. It is on his return that we were able to find the 2829 files, having him to lead the search and to get that. So the Catherine Phipps committee engaged by the board is looking at all employees to determine where they are to be held accountable and what is recommendation. The committee is made up of lawyers, HR practitioners, very senior levels, and they are doing that. They are expected to provide the board with a report by June.
Imagine.
So in another 2 months, we are expecting the report.
They're confused or
2 months plus. We're expecting that report, and from there, if depending on what they say, we will take the necessary actions along with the police who are doing their investigation, and they are doing asked for statements, and they are planning to do interviews. We were told just yesterday.
I do hope that somebody is held accountable for this, because those gaps that we're seeing, it doesn't sit well with me, nor the public.
Doesn't sit well with me neither.
An entity such as UHWI should be operating at a particular standard.
Yeah.
So I do hope that report doesn't go missing like all the other documents.
I can assure you, I'm a part of the board, and I can assure you that we are taking the engagement of a very well-known and very
they can't get their lives together.
And the members of that committee is an indication of the
I tell you
seriousness
now,
with which they
lie
hold this case in
cannot
this matter.
walk
They
straight
want to
line.
follow the
Alright.
correct HR
Lie is
process
only for
to
a
ensure
moment.
that we are doing it correctly and not get ourselves into any trouble at any other levels.
This question is for Mr. Buckridge. Buckridge. My apologies. Prior to your removal, were the documents kept in the same place when you returned? All your documentation, were they stored at the same location?
1 second, somebody has to release a mic so I can turn on his. Yes.
Okay. Let me just add some context to that, Chair.
Yes or no?
Files were being kept in filing cabinets, and when those filing cabinets were filled, they were transferred into a storage room that has shelves on them. So we have always been using filing cabinets. And then, so the most recent files are kept in filing cabinets. So based upon my return now, when the process was not being kept.
So between when you left in 2023, you left in 2025?
Yes, early 2025 and returned in February 2026.
And returned 2026. So within that 1 year gap, or 1 year period, processes were not followed, you're saying?
Yes.
Very well.
All right, Member Morrison.
Thank you, Chair. Chairman, we are talking about 22 procurement files with contracts valued at over 246 million, not found, appears to have vanished. Chairman, earlier you, and I'm going to paraphrase, you said that you don't want to accuse anyone of being deliberate, but you're sorely tempted. When systems do not work, and when we are seeing that it is like, it's obvious, why is this not working? When accountability is weak, I'm putting it to you, Chairman, that usually there is someone or entities that are benefiting by the apparent dysfunction. Chairman, we will hear that a new person is in the post, maybe a new CEO, or we will hear that the practice has discontinued. And this Jumanji series of events, it is becoming even more bizarre and outlandish and outrageous with explanation. When we hold people accountable, what are the suite of action items that follow when we say this entity or these individuals are to be held accountable? 246 million. Where are the missing files? Maybe file 13? I don't know. But I want to call your attention to the brief, Chairman. It's not part 2 where we have note briefly that alarms me. It's not the part that says no documents were provided for 22 contracts. It's where it says we have not conducted an audit to determine the authenticity of the submitted documents. So I'm aligned with you, Chair, when you say we have to come back to this matter.
No, we have to. And that's why I had asked the Auditor General, but she indicated her plate is full. But we have to come back because we don't even know how bad the problem is at this point in time. But I must tell you now, 6 years me I sit down in that chair, this is one of the worst. The worst. And I don't, as I said, I can't conclude corruption because I don't have enough evidence, but it smells bad. It stink. It stink.
It stink.
And understand, understand when our constituents go to university hospital or any hospital and them have to pay the fee, and them call we as the MP for help, for pay the fee. And them people are listen to this, you know? And them people listen to this. And I say, when them go pay them tax, at this, them tax dollars I do, and them can't go hospital and get an MRI or a CT scan, we will follow up. We will follow up. We will follow up. Because nothing can go so in a 2026. Document can't walk out of hospital. Fire, me not hear about fire. Me hear about flooding. I'm want to report on the flooding. But it cannot be so that you just disappear 22 document can't find. Worth so much money? No, sir. Member Cuthbert Flynn and Member Cousins.
Thank you, Chairman. I have two questions. I wanted to go back to the beginning where I think it was mentioned that there are 8 to 10 members. I'm curious as to who are, as far as UHWI, who are those board members? Who are they made up of? The personnel on the board. The composition of the board.
You need
Well,
the names of the individual?
No, not the name, but who are they comprised of? As far as the individuals, are there any medical doctors on the board? Are there just, members of civil society? Who are the members? The composition.
Okay, so we do have some doctors on the committee. The chief medical officer, Madam DeSesa, is
Melissa.
on the board. Also, the senior director of clinical services is on the board also. And we have in attendance others, medical personnel who are on the board.
Sorry, if I might help. Those other persons not appointed by the minister, the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at University Hospital of the University of the West Indies, the Chief Medical Officer of Jamaica,
Talk closer to the mic. Pull the mic closer.
the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University of the West Indies, the Chief Medical Officer, who just left here a while ago, the Financial Secretary, the Bursar of the University of the West Indies.
I don't know what worse it can get let here. It's bad, man.
So it would be her
you wanted the
appointee.
medical people. Oh, okay. The chairman of the medical committee of the University Hospital of the West Indies. And 4 members elected from time to time by the council of the University of the West Indies, of whom not more than one shall be a registered medical practitioner. And the minister appoints 8 members, and the 8 members that the minister appoints consist of the following: 3 persons resident in Jamaica, one of whom shall be a registered medical practitioner engaged in private practice, 1 registered medical practitioner.
I think it's unfair for have them a people a question still and then put out the one never can answer it.
And 4 persons of whom one at least shall be a woman appearing to the minister to be interested in social welfare generally or in the welfare and aftercare of patients attending the hospital.
Okay, thank you for that. Let me go back to the audit findings as well. It states here contractors engaging without formal contracts. Do we know for what amount that these contractors were engaged without a formal contract?
Yeah, they don't really want, and all of them know what's going on.
And under what circumstance?
We don't have the information. What we do know is that some of them actually, based on the Auditor General's report, were actually engaged. And then after they have completed the work or near completion, the contracts were put in place. Signed contracts were put in place.
You're right,
Do you know why that was? That a contract is not signed before
the work began?
I am.
Or is that a practice that is done, or is that a practice that's done where you engage someone and you don't have them sign anything and they do the work and then you say, okay, what if?
That's a clear breach.
Yeah, because there are many things that could really happen.
Yes, clear breach of the procurement guideline.
Variations could happen.
Well, the fact is also that you will have a situation where a person is engaged and then after you would, as I think the Auditor General pointed out, after is when you go to tender.
Well, the biggest risk to the government of Jamaica
it should never happen.
Is that you engage somebody, something go wrong with the contract.
But that's what I mean.
Can't be completed. You have nobody to hold accountable.
Right.
Because you have no contract.
Mm-hmm.
So if it works, the person could have done the thing incorrectly. They could have made an error. You have nobody to hold accountable.
And do we know how many? I also am curious as to approximately how many of these contractors were engaged without a contract. I think if you don't have that with you, we'd love to get that information as well, to say there were 100 contractors that were engaged without a formal contract.
I think you're not ask the
I
wrong
want to
people
know
then,
that.
Yes,
and the circumstances.
If you don't have that, we would need that as part of the report. The breakdown of the individual contractors, the service that they are providing, and the amounts that were paid.
Well, we will be able to provide what we can find and the information that is available that fits into that category, because I'm not going to say to you that there may be circumstances where this has happened, but the information that we have in front of us is showing, otherwise.
But can I ask, and the CEO, the acting CEO may not be able to answer because you just went there, but what circumstances would give rise to contracts being awarded verbally, work completed, and then only when payment is to be made, a contract is signed?
Mr. Chairman, under no circumstances at all whatsoever should this happen. Under no circumstances, even in case of emergencies, there are procedures that deal with that. Under no circumstances, sir, should that happen.
All right. Member Cousins.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. So let's focus
Good
on
night,
the
Brenda.
51 contracts.
If they all mix up with the university hospital, so them in there, them a question them up some madness we hear tonight.
By the ministry that they have not conducted an audit to determine the authenticity. That is very interesting. Of the
Lana, good
documents,
night.
That for the 22 contracts that were submitted. Chairman, earlier, the CEO said that 28 contract documents were submitted. No, were submitted, and 29 found 28 submitted. But there's one saying that is incomplete document submitted. What does that mean? Does that mean that you did not submit that one that was incomplete, or you submitted all 29 to the Auditor General?
No, we presented 28 for them to review. And as they said, they have not really done a full thing to give a report, but there was one that was found subsequent to them coming and reviewing those. And that is the one. So it's not an incomplete, it is that the file was found after they had finished looking at the 28 when they came.
Oh, so you're saying that in looking at the response here, saying incomplete documentation submitted, you're not saying that the documentation for the 20 that is the additional one that was found after was incomplete. You're saying that you did not complete the submission?
It did not submit. For them to
But
review.
before you did so submit 28 and then one after make 29. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying.
We actually asked our internal audit department to just review it, to see, what is there. But in terms of a full audit work, I don't believe they have done anything fully. And also the Auditor General.
It couldn't happen nowhere else in the
She
world.
has said that she has not done a full audit of it, so she's unable to. Or her team.
22 contracts that you provided the disclaimer for, saying that we have not conducted audit to determine the authenticity of submitted documents. No, for the 28th, or rather 29. Did you ask your internal audit department to authenticate these documents before you send them over to the Auditor General? Would that be a reasonable procedure to follow before you send them to the AG?
We did ask him to look at it, and he's here, so he could tell you what work exactly he did with respect to those 28.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Yes, sir. Mr. Internal Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. We did look at the 28 documents that were presented to us, Chair, and we can say with certainty they are authentic in relation to those documents, Chair.
Authentic, and just so we're clear about what authentic means that
they are original documents.
They're original documents.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. It still doesn't negate the need for an audit by the Auditor General of those contracts.
Chairman, I would even go there. Because if the internal auditor is saying one thing here, and we have a document with a response from the ministry saying something else, then I don't know why would we even...
Hold on, I think the Auditor General wants to provide some clarity here. Does.
To clarify, you're reading from the prompt.
Yes.
Yes, and that prompt, that's a comment made by the Auditor General to say that the documents have been submitted, but we have not had an opportunity to do a review to determine the authenticity of the documents.
Thank you, Madam AG. Because when I'm looking at it, it's very...
No, this is the AG's prompt.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, am I to understand that unless the Director of Procurement returned in early 2026, we would not have found these additional 28 documents?
I cannot answer that, member. What we did was when he was returned, it was at that point, which is March 1.
I take out selective sitting and get on.
February 2nd. As I said, I came in February. We looked at it and I said, look here, where is it? Where are the files? Go and find them. So as to whether they would have found them with or without him, I cannot say, but they were found.
And this procedure that was highlighted of filing cabinets being too full, so you have to move them to shelves in a room. That is totally unacceptable.
2 foot?
That's what was reported here earlier. That the filing cabinets, you have the procedure is when the filing cabinets are too full. You find a room with a shelf and put some files on them.
It's not a find a room, member. It is a procedure that they have where it is in the filing cabinet. When the filing cabinet is full, they are placed in shelves in a room, a storeroom. And just to let you know that the problem with the flooding, we have fixed the roof and we have done some work to prevent the rush of water that was coming.
Millionaire and billionaire, that's our problem.
So
you think me ever had to make tea and drink, yeah?
CEO, that has been done? Or before you came to the office of CEO?
Since.
It was done prior to the CEO.
What was the date? What was the date of that repair of the documents? Of the building to prevent the flooding?
No, sorry. It was during Mr. Osin because I remember I could not go in there because the flooding.
So
you couldn't access it?
I could not go into even my former office because
is it because of you were in another position?
Yes. So what had happened? The roof was leaking. So it was leaking in the filing area. It was also leaking in where my office was.
Oh.
So they had repaired it so I could go back in the office.
Oh.
Oh, so you needed water boots and a raincoat.
Rain was falling in there.
Rain was falling inside.
So we repaired it this year.
Videos of it.
So the files were in your office at the time when
Some
the rain
files
fell?
were in my office at the
Oh, that's why we can't find the additional 28.
Some files were in my office. They were using my office as a store.
Oh, to store the files. So it means the file them wet up then, and them just need to dry out.
I don't know, sir.
Oh.
Well, that's the point I ask you. So if rain was falling inside the building, the file them should have did it. Them just wet and need to dry.
Yeah.
So is a 2-foot rod take them out of the building?
So these 28 files you found, where did you find them exactly?
They were
29 no, but yes. We
Yes,
did find
some were
28
found-
first and then 28.
Some were found in filing cabinets.
Oh.
And some were found in the area where they archive files. So
that's why they were not wet, because they were in filing cabinets. So the others you were still were wet, that's why you can't find them.
I can't speak to that.
Oh,
sir.
I see. Chairman, I think I'll yield, because we have to get back to this issue
But
again.
the chair, we did fix the roof, as I said, this year.
So we won't have that problem again. But then we should be on the
Okay,
Go
lock the
Gem
door. Let me make sure I'm going
portal, so you
Everything as of March
upload them
1.
electronically.
As of March 1, everything. Before that, more than those above 10 million for a few months. But as of March 1, we have made it very clear, and we are holding persons accountable if they don't. And as I said, it is 100%. It is not anything like below 1.5 that is not on. Everything, the mandate is everything. And the problems that
Them
are
are back,
flooding
but
should not
if them
rear
can't,
up,
they
should
can't
not,
talk
because
straight, man.
we've
So
done
when
things
you
to
get
mitigate
caught,
the roof, and by
all of them
putting proper
afraid.
guttering, to
Me
channel
drink up
water
my
into
tea, yeah?
another area.
10 o'clock, me I start. Let me see how far
Thank
I
you, Chair.
reach.
I am a little bit baffled because I just want to kind of go back to the board.
Me now can't
board
listen to,
members.
we are going to
Yes, 'cause I
pause
hear
them right yes or no.
esteemed-
Our reason, lick upon it. Maureen Bailey Pisarty. No, it's a big embarrassment though. Let me drink your tea before I come. No, can't tell me what kind of tea that. Me get lovely tea and me start drink it and me feel so nice. Onion, garlic, thyme, scallion. Any of you ever drink that tea there? Me not tell a lie. The tea make me feel good. But you know that they name the 4 company. They name 4 company them. Let me look back for them. Jagden confirmed as one of the 4 companies. That is the Executive Officer of the University of the West Indies. Eric Ozen has named the 4 companies found to have improperly used the UHWI tax exemption. They are Supreme Laundry Service, Wildman Sales, Scientific Medical Service, and Jagden Limited. All right. So, Mr. Sonaron, everybody used to talk about Jagden. So, we know who are the owners. That's how I want to ask them. Who are the owners for West Indies? No, for Supreme Laundry Service. Who are the owner for Supreme Laundry Service? Call their name. Who own Wellman Sales? Scientific Medical Service. Who own that? All we see nationwide I put out a Jagden, Jagden, Jagden. Who are the owner for the other three? Who are the owners for the other companies? Me think you don't try if you put them out, my brother. Me want to know. For you, nationwide, you know everything, you know. Because a long time you put out this pan him. So you did get it and you don't know at all. Because whoever in on the party knows so him get it. Who give it to him? Who sign off the documentation on his behalf? Who sign off the documentation?
Okay, let me just answer the chairman's questions and I'll come to you. I'm just making sure I get the correct spelling of the names. All right? I'll get in that. But the chairman asked what did they report from Customs State, right? Third-party verification from the name company with the assistance of the CEO of that company. That one, the goods were imported and these are the dialysis machines. One, the goods were imported by the company, the goods were paid for by the company, the value of the goods was verified by way of payment records received from the company, custody of the goods was verified to be that of the company, and the address, and that it was not, and the company confirmed that the goods were in fact imported for that company by the university. The name of the companies are Supreme Laundry Services, Willman's Sales. What's that? Willman's Sales. Willman, WILLMAN, Sales, SALES. Scientific Medical Services, and Jack Ben Limited.
Thank you very much, CEO.
You know, you hear that? So everybody got talk about Dennis. And Dennis only 4 company. We want to know, because we not hear that yet, you know. We don't know who own the 4 company. They call the name.
French.
But we don't know who own the companies. So that is what we want to know. So me now can finish up the rest, but guys.
That's the English translation for Je suis zélé à la.
Thank you very much, everybody, for being a part of it. You know, it almost done, but me not past 10 o'clock. The main part of it, we hear the old drama, the old saga, the old lies, the old deceptions. No, them I got that they put out on the headline, see it? Nationwide. But we not hear nothing about the rest of the company. Who will make we know the rest of them? I want to know. If I have a PMP, I want to know. I want to know all the criminal and the thief them. Thank you, Andrea. I want to know all the thief and all the criminal them, right? Anyway, guys, thank you for the time. Thank you for being up a little later with me tonight. Love and respect, you know. Can Henry, as usual, always a top up for me over TikTok. And all of you over YouTube. Time. I forgot my bed because I don't know I wake up early, right? So I have to come on live tomorrow morning. So have yourself a great night. And you know what? Expose them, Lord. Expose more. All who forget expose them. I don't care who them be. Expose them. Good night, everybody. Bye. Canary, love you. Thanks for tapping up. Catch you later. Bye, everybody over TikTok. Thanks for staying on. Love you. Bye over. Bunch of lion thief, them piggy. Bunch of lion thief. Good night, Nadi. Thanks for staying on. Catch you later. Bye, everybody.